Let's talk about what exactly do we mean by hybrid events? How do each of you define a hybrid event? Dan, can we start with you and your thoughts on that?
Sure, I'll take a shot at it. I think one of the things that hybrid isn't, and Alex touched on this, it's not new. The concept isn't new. It's something that's been around. It's now about degrees or sort of what levels you're bringing certain parts up and down. So, within hybrid, I see it as having hybrid audiences, meaning remote folks and in on-prem, remote or on-prem talent, and then the production side of it. Same thing, production's been done remote for a long time. So there's sort of three main elements there. And again, it's right now the tilt has been to go fully remote. Like if I think back to when this all started, really no choice in terms of having people in a room. So it was fully remote. So now we're tilting, at least we're starting to see at LinkedIn, a tilt back to, they're talking about on-prem, they're talking about either on-prem studios for production, or we're talking about actual in-person events. So the tilt is happening. What I'm noticing is the expectations or the breadth is quite wide now, because now you can have something as simple or as a Zoom call, that's a webinar, all the way up to when we get back on site, there will be expectation to go back to full production. So you now have a much larger area. If this is the area you work in, you now need to know everything from simple fully remote to the most complex, and even the most complex fully remote to complex on site. And so that I think is the challenge. How do you keep all those tools sharp as the tilt starts happening to go back on site?
We define a hybrid event as if I have one person in the room in the audience and one person online. It's a hybrid event. As soon as again, you can keep on expanding that, but it's a very binary thing for us. Is if you're going to put one person in the room, you're now going to have a hybrid event because they have to be taken care of as well as your online audience that needs to be taken care of. And so, that's how we define it. And then you can decide, as Dan said, there's lots of permutations of what that actually looks like.
Yeah, I'd agree with Alex. I mean, we've done 15 years under our belt now of kind of providing live and on-demand video experiences, and it encompasses all areas of hybrid. But like you say, if there's one person in the room and one person in a digital environment, then that's your hybrid. But I think it kind of means a variety of things. So sometimes it can mean an in-person core event with a series of virtual pre and post activities, such as kind of training, accreditation, and build up mini sessions to kind of, build up the excitement around the event. But also it can mean running two events sort of side by side, one set in person and one set virtual. And I think there's so many different formats. It is important you have a flexible team that can lend itself to all of those experiences and quickly alternate if plans change. So I think, as Dan said, we're about to tilt again, and these tilts come and go. We've all seen huge events like NAB was supposed to go ahead and then is cancelled, kind of very last minute. So it's having that ability to switch between the two. So I think, if exactly as you say, if your expectation is one person live, one person live in person, and one in a virtual environment, then that's hybrid already.
I think it's really interesting. As much as we try to define hybrid, I think our clientele are probably the ones actually defining it. And for a lot of people, especially those who have had success with virtual events and highly interactive virtual events, what they're thinking of is, I want to keep that. I want to keep that high level of engagement, be able to see my audience, interact back and forth with them virtually. And at the same time, I want to have an in-person audience experience. So that's what most of our clients are coming to us when they say hybrid. That's what they mean. And what winds up being the case, much like Charlie said, that's very much having two events at the same time. And it's a little bit challenging. What we see most people actually defining hybrid as is a little bit more how it was pre-pandemic, where you had an in-person experience that was very interactive, and then you had a live stream going out to a virtual audience that was more a fly on the wall experience. And I think that's what most people define hybrid as, despite the fact that I would disagree with that.